Good morning again. I'm Maurice Barratt and I've got another food for thought. We're actually to number 94. I've decided to stop when I get to 100 and start a new series. What do I want to talk about? Well, I want to talk about conviction, challenge. It's so easy to be convicted, to be challenged when you read the Bible or listen to a sermon, and actually forget what you were challenged and convicted about. So many Christians go to church, read the Bible, read a quote, they're really challenged, but they carry on as before. How do I know this? Is this a prideful statement? No, I can prove it because these people are not changing into the image of Christ. Christ is not being formed in them. They still think with the worldly mindset. I hear them talk and I realise they're watching the television and they're thinking like the world, not with the mind of Christ. The walk doesn't reflect the talk. They say the right things, they talk faith, but they're not living it. They talk victory, but they're not living it. And it's so sad that people, after 20 years, haven't changed in character. Christ has got to be formed in you. When people say to me, Maurice, that really convicted me, that talk, I say, convicted you to do what? It's no point being convicted if you don't apply it or do something. In fact, you get hardened up. You get used to the conviction. When people say to me, wow, that was challenging, I say, challenging to do what? You have to do something when you're convicted. If not, you're like James says. James says, if any be a hearer of the word, this is James 1:23, and not a doer, is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he beholds himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgets what manner he was. That's what you do when you look in a mirror, you see yourself. Well, when you read the word, it's supposed to judge you. I mean, the letters to the churches should convict us to change and do something. The Sermon on the Mount is very challenging, convicting. And if you're not convicted when you read the Bible, what's the point of reading it if it's not going to change you into the image of Christ till Christ is formed in you? Christians do what the early church did. They did 4 things, Acts 2:42. They met together for prayer, fellowship, breaking of bread, and the apostles' teaching. Well, Christians do those 4 things, but they're doing the duty. It doesn't feed them. It doesn't convict them. They just go through the motions. How do I know? Well, the early church did these 4 things, and then Acts 2:43 tells you the consequences. So if these things don't follow, the 4 things that you do, the basic 4 things, breaking of bread, prayer, fellowship, and the apostles' teaching, there's something wrong. Here's what happened. And they continued steadfastly in the apostles' teaching. That was the teaching of Jesus. There was no church doctrine. Fellowship and in breaking of bread and prayers. And fear came upon every soul. And many wonders and signs were done by the apostles. And all that believed were together and had all things in common. And they sold their possessions and goods and parted to every man as they had need. And they continued daily with one accord in the temple, breaking bread from house to house, did eat their meat with gladness and singleness of heart, praising God and have favour with all the people. And the Lord added to the church daily such as should be saved. That's the consequence of doing those 4 things when you're convicted and challenged and judged and you do something about it. Well, time's gone. Have a blessed day and be challenged to do something, not challenged. Be convicted to do something, not just convicted. And keep thinking.